The Robert Durst murders, a true horror story. Some killers hide in the shadows, others hide in plain sight. Robert Durst was the heir to a billionaire real estate empire, a man with wealth, power, and privilege, but behind his eccentric smile and strange behavior lay one of the darkest true crime stories in American history. He was linked to 3 deaths over 3 decades: his wife who vanished, his best friend who was executed in cold blood, and his neighbor whose body was cut to pieces. This is the terrifying story of Robert Durst, the millionaire murderer who almost got away with it all. The story begins in 1982 when Robert's young wife, Kathie Durst, vanished without a trace. The couple's marriage had been troubled for years, marked by fights, jealousy, and accusations of abuse. On January 31st, after attending a dinner party, Kathie called a friend saying she was afraid of Robert. That was the last time anyone ever heard from her. Robert told police he had dropped her at a train station in New York City, claiming she went back to their Manhattan apartment, but Kathie never arrived. Despite suspicions surrounding Robert, Kathie's body was never found, and without hard evidence, the case went cold. For decades, her disappearance haunted investigators and Kathie's family, everyone believing Robert knew exactly what happened. Fast forward nearly 2 decades later. In 2000, Robert's longtime friend, Susan Berman, was found dead in her Los Angeles home. She had been executed at close range, ending her life. Susan had been Robert's confidant for years, and many believed she knew the truth about Kathie's disappearance. Just days before police were scheduled to interview her about the case, she was silenced forever. Who had the motive to keep her quiet? Investigators had their suspicions, and all eyes turned once again to Robert Durst. By 2001, Robert was living in Galveston, Texas, in a bizarre disguise posing as a mute old woman. Neighbors thought he was strange, but harmless. That illusion shattered when his neighbor, Morris Black, was found murdered and dismembered. Police discovered Morris's body parts floating in Galveston Bay. The pieces were wrapped in plastic bags and dumped like garbage. The only thing missing was the head, which was never recovered. Durst was arrested, and in court, he admitted to killing and dismembering Morris Black, but claimed it was all done in self-defense. Shockingly, the jury believed him. Despite the gruesome details, Robert Durst was acquitted of murder in 2003. For years, Robert evaded justice. Wealth and legal power kept him free, even as suspicion followed him everywhere. But in 2015, HBO aired a documentary series called The Jinx, The Life and Deaths of Robert Durst. The series explored Kathie's disappearance, Susan Berman's murder, and the killing of Morris Black. It also featured rare interviews with Durst himself. His strange behavior fascinated viewers, his odd mannerisms, nervous tics, and unsettling smirk. But it was the final episode that made history. Off camera, unaware his microphone was still on, Robert muttered to himself in the bathroom.
What the hell did I do? Killed them all, of course.
Those chilling words were heard by millions. It wasn't a formal confession, but it was enough to shake the world. The very same year, Robert Durst was arrested in connection with Susan Berman's murder. In 2021, nearly 40 years after Kathie vanished, he was finally convicted of murdering Susan. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole, but justice came late. Robert Durst died in prison in January 2022 at the age of 78, leaving behind a legacy of suspicion, horror, and unanswered questions. Kathie's body has never been found, and her case remains open. The story of Robert Durst proves that sometimes money and privilege can shield evil for decades. He lived as both a millionaire and a fugitive, charming some while terrifying others. But in the end, his own words sealed his fate. A man who thought he was untouchable, undone by the slip of a microphone, and a conscience too heavy to stay silent forever. Robert Durst was more than a killer. He was a chilling reminder that monsters don't always lurk in the dark. Sometimes they smile, shake your hand, and live right next door.